In the review, Method, of April to May 2020, the official journal of the Franco-Russian Institute, whose primary aim is to share Russian and French cultures, General Dominique Delaward published an article entitled, NATO, Peacemaker or Troublemaker. He points out that for 41 years, from 1949 to 1990, and until the collapse of the Soviet Union, no NATO bomb will disturb the tranquility of Western Europe and the rest of the world. On the contrary, from 1991 to 2019, for 28 years, NATO bombs began to rain down more and more frequently and in greater numbers both in Europe and outside Europe. A few hundred at first, then a few thousand, to arrive today at several tens of thousands of bombs dropped each year on the planet by NATO member countries, acting in a coalition of circumstances. The pretexts given for these bombings have been and are, most often, fallacious, or even created out of thin air. These bombings are almost always the result of self-interested interference. Human rights, democracy, humanitarian interference, national security, are generally the justifications put forward since 1991, whereas they were not before. Europe, Africa and Asia have already been affected by these bombings carried out by coalitions of NATO members, and even by NATO itself. The UN is often ignored and bypassed. Security Council resolutions are sometimes overridden. After such factual statements, it is understandable that the media hounds would try to destroy General Delaward's reputations, for example by some agitated person during the Mirandina Live program of the 18th of June 2021. The questions of how and why this has happened have already been raised. The important point is that the Swiss position is becoming increasingly uncomfortable in this billiard game with more than 3 cushions. From collaboration to partnership and then to informal membership, Switzerland's shift to the United States was a gradual process. As pointed out by Alexander Del Valle, a researcher at the International Institute for Strategic Studies, in a long but excellent video dated the 23rd of March 2022 on the video channel Les Incorrectables, NATO is the armed wing of the strategic thinking of the United States. The members are pure and simple vassals. Operation Overlord, Suzerain in French, the code name for the Battle of Normandy in English, in 1944 set the tone. Indeed, in a speech delivered on the 22nd of March 2022 at the Quarterly Business Roundtable CEO meeting, Joe Biden said that the world was at an inflection point that happens every 3 or 4 generations, and that it was up to the United States to determine the outcome. Quote, "There is going to be a new world order and we have to lead it," unquote. However, this new world order appears to be deliberately creating economic hardship around the world in order to impose a great reinitialization on humanity or Great Reset, a concept described in the eponymous book co-authored by Klaus Schwab, founder of the World Economic Forum. The reality is that the problems facing millions of people in the West are the result of years of actions by a ruling elite, their mistakes and their short-term policies and ambitions. This elite is not thinking about how to improve the lives of its citizens. It is obsessed with its own selfish interests and sky-high profits. By taking the plunge, Switzerland has entered a minefield for its own future, and to understand the situation, the analysis must be broadened. NATO is only the military part of this new world order.